There will be no more executions in Illinois. After more than a decade of debate, Governor Pat Quinn signed a bill abolishing the death penalty yesterday. Technically, it doesn't take effect till July 1st, but he also commuted the sentences of the 15 men currently on death row to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And this morning, attorney Thomas Glasgow joins us now to talk more about this very historic move. And Thomas, you were with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office once. So tell us, what is the reaction now for law enforcement officials?
This takes away some powerful tools for prosecutors and for police. And when you're investigating murders, and you're investigating particularly heinous murders, having the death penalty as a bargaining chip, not only in the investigation stage, but at the prosecution stage, gives the prosecution and the police a very, very powerful tool to work with.
You've been in the room during interrogations with
Yes.
people accused of murder. Give us a real-life example of how you've used that as a bargaining chip.
When you have a person who's in the interrogation room and you're speaking to them, and the person has committed that heinous crime, and the example that I gave you of the person who had killed 3 separate people, one of which, well, baby was present, talking with that person firsthand, talking with them back and forth and explaining to them, look, you've now explained to me and told me and confessed to me that you've committed a crime that could result in the death penalty. It is a real eye-opener for someone who has now had this epiphany to tell you everything that's gone on. And now the death penalty is on the table. You give them more. And in that particular case, that death penalty issue, the potential for the death penalty, yielded a person who had killed more than one person from the initial investigation. We discovered 2 other crimes that he had committed, 2 other murders. If that had not been there, perhaps he would not have given us solutions to 2 other crimes, and 2 other people's deaths still would be unsolved.
But on the other hand, of course, the Governor Quinn saying that this is the hardest decision that he's had to make as a governor, but he did it because the system is not perfect.
You have to put that in perspective. We are one of now 15 other states, we're number 16, that has done away with the death penalty. The vast majority of Western societies don't have the death penalty for the very reasons that were cited. That it is not perfect, and you are going to end up with people who are exonerated, who are innocent. There's the risk of putting somebody to death who is not a guilty person.
I went to death row in 2003, a few days after Governor Ryan commuted the sentences, and one thing I heard from the inmates who had just had their sentences commuted to life in prison was, you know, for those who had claims of innocence out there, they said, now hold on, all of a sudden the spots where they were catching the errors, meaning that those reviews before an execution took place, weren't happening then because there wasn't the spotlight on their cases. What do you say to that?
Well, that's very interesting in that, you know, Anita Alvarez has said the current 15 that are on death row are not protesting their innocence. But you have to also understand when, first of all, charges of murder or sex abuse, those sort of things are very, very powerful, powerful charges. In and of themselves, juries want to, in some way, identify with the victims and help the victims. So there's, and you're presenting evidence. We trust our prosecutors, we trust our judges, we trust our system. And therefore, we want to believe that all of this that they're presenting is true. If there's been an error made, if there is a glaring error made, or there is other issues that come to light later down the road, you can't undo the death penalty, which is the argument that I think Governor Quinn took into consideration, and took into consideration the right way. You do not want to execute an innocent person.
Yeah, well, the governor has signed it, but I'm sure the debate continues. Thomas, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much, guys.
We appreciate it.
We'll be back with a look at weather and traffic after this.